something to weigh that down.
Yes.
Okay, so shall we say?
Yes.
Going to introduce it.
Yeah, this is
Because somebody just mentioned your name. Yes.
now this is Baba Ogunlana.
Yeah.
Mr. Adesina, Ademola, Ogunlana. He's the chairman of Ramimba. I belong to Ramimba. That's the radical agenda
movement in the Nigerian Bar
Yes,
Association. Radical agenda movement in the Nigerian Bar Association.
So you can just.
He has so many camps.
Okay, can we just start there? You give the introduction of who is there. Okay. So you can.
What I
We're starting.
Okay.
I think I
Now,
should give it to
Farotimi
you.
is we'll start off.
Remember one more time.
The radical agenda movement in the Nigerian Bar Association. I welcome every one of you here, gentlemen of press. It's a press chat, really, about development that pertain to our association. Also, the secretary of Ramimba is actually here. That's Mr. Ademili. Yesterday, necessity made us to communicate with security agencies, two of them, the key ones. That's the DSS, if you like, and then the Nigerian police, to drop letters with them in respect of a member of the association, Mr. Dele Farotimi here, whose life has been threatened by some known persons. He will speak more on it, but I want to assure you that a radical association like ours, with due respect, at the cost of sounding immodest, is not frivolous. We don't make frivolous allegations. As lawyers and of the radical activist persuasion, we take things very seriously. Well, so we are not alarmists. If things are real, and you know what has happened in the country in the times past, very important personages, including Attorney General of the Federation, was murdered and killed. When you have information, let it be known. Don't keep quiet under false modesty. And that is why we dropped letters with the authorities yesterday, awaiting their investigation and their reaction. That's why we are here. I want to thank you once again for your patience. Yes, Mr. Farotimi.
Sorry, sir, before you start,
Yes.
please,
Yes.
we have to sit there for proper camera.
Okay.
You,
I will leave.
So the DSS have.
sorry,
The police, Lagos State Police Command.
proper chair for
Yes.
Okay.
The Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, we got a letter yesterday.
Okay. Please, all our phones are on silent. Okay, sir.
Good morning, everybody. As my chairman has already explained, when you do what we do, which is speak outside the norm, and you dare to speak truth to power in the country Nigeria, you do so fully cognizant of the risks that you are taking. Nigeria is a dangerous place to speak truth. Speaking truth in Nigeria endangers your life. And I doubt there is anyone of the radical persuasion who is not already aware of the extent of dangers that we daily deal with when we open our mouths to speak the truth in Nigeria. I have never been under any illusion as to the kind of existential evil that stalks everyone who dares to speak truth in Nigeria. But the recent, this particular experience is a little different. It is one thing to be working with the paranoia with which we work in Nigeria, because in Nigeria, paranoia is merely a heightened sense of self-preservation. But when you now get to the point where you know that the only thing standing between you and certain death in this country is for you to keep your mouth shut, that is dangerous, and we're already in that dangerous place. However, on Monday last week, I've been hearing hints. I've been hearing hints. I've known that some people, a lot of people are pissed off with me, particularly because of what I have had to say in relation to the NSAS protests, the killings at the toll gate, and the reopening, the planned reopening of that toll gate. I was already aware that I was offending a lot of powerful people. But by Monday, I first got hint of, I sensed something wasn't right, but by Tuesday, it was confirmed. I got a call. I've been living in Lagos for 35 years. I came to Lagos as a 17-year-old in 1985. I have been here 35 going on 36 years. And I have lived in the Etiosa axis since 2002. That is at least, what, 19 years now. I saw Lekki as a village, and I'm seeing it develop into the metropolis it has become today. So I am part and parcel of the landscape. And I have not been a completely useless person to some of the persons I've come across in my time living in this space. And I was given a specific and clear warning on Tuesday. Somebody was privy to certain discussions at certain levels. I am not going to be able to disclose the name of my source, but I was sufficiently concerned enough to know that this is not one of those empty threats. The threat was specific, names were mentioned. I know one of the persons who was mentioned, even at a personal level, is somebody I've known for years. And it would be most stupid of me to dismiss what I was told and the veracity of what I was told. Being confronted with that, I consulted with Baba as the head of the organization to which I belong. I spoke with a few other friends as well, and we all agreed that given the experiences of Nigeria and Chief Bola Ige, who was the Attorney General, a sitting Attorney General, and was murdered in his own bedroom, in his own house, in sleepy Bodija in Ibadan. Given the fact that we have also witnessed the gruesome murder of Dele, who briefed his lawyer on a Friday. Chief Gani was preparing to do something about it on the Monday, and by Sunday, Dele was bumped to smithereens. We will all die. That is the only thing that is certain for all who draws breath. My next birthday, I'll be 53. I never thought I would live to be 35. So I have been blessed to have lived as long as I have lived. Whether I live to be another 53 years old, whether I live another 53 years, I'm not going to live forever. Eventually, I will die. Just like all of us will die. However, it is crystal clear and important for men to understand that they are not the givers of life, and they cannot be the ones who determine how a man might live his life and presume to be the takers. I have told the law enforcement officers, I have sent them my petition clearly, and I have requested protection from the Nigerian state. However, certain persons amongst my own friends, Baba Ogunlana, Mr. Ademola here, key members of my family, and certainly friends and associates from way back, they are fully aware of the fact, and I have shared these facts with them, so that should anything happen they know who to allocate the guilt to. In this case, I am telling the public, I have never, ever once sought anything from my public advocacy. I do not desire political office. I am not looking for money, and I'm not chasing clouds. This is about the future. I have children. They should be able to live in a country where they are free and where they are able to fulfill the potentials that God has deposited in them. So when I open my mouth and I am speaking for those who do not have a voice. I am speaking for the vulcanizer on the street who cannot articulate his position. I am speaking for the carpenter. I am speaking for those who do not have, not everybody would have a camera in front of them, and when they do have cameras in front of them, not all of them can articulate their position, and not all of them understand the issues. I do not pretend to have a monopoly of wisdom. I have been wrong several times, and I expect that when I am wrong, there will be disputations based on reason. I was not counting on men turning themselves into hunters of men instead of hunters of rabbits and goats. But that is for people to do what they know how to do. I will continue to do what I do, but it is critical. It is very critical that Nigerians understand clearly. I am not a drug baron. I do not do business with anybody. I don't cheat anyone. If anything should happen to me, look no further than the persons I have named in my petition, whose identities I have already made clear to my own associates and friends. And in addition to this, open your eyes and be clear. I am in Lagos State. In Lagos State, there is a fusion between the criminal element and the ruling class. I said that without any equivocation. There is a fusion between the criminal element and the ruling hegemony. I have not joined any one of them in sharing anything, and I have no worries about consequences of things I might have done in my own space. But let people not look any further than the hegemony ruling this state and the persons I have mentioned specifically in my petition, if anything should happen to me. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. This is a very tough one. You'll do us a favor, as much as your position is clear of not revealing the person involved, but is it succinct enough to say that this has something to do with the NSAS protest?
It definitely does. Look, let me say this. When you offend the Nigerian government at the federal level, what would tend to happen to you is that the Nigerian government would conveniently find a charge or the other to wrap around your neck. You end up in some court on some charge or the other. And if you give them the excuse, you might be tied up for a long time to come. But when you offend state powers at the state levels in Nigeria, the opportunity for them to use the state apparatus, the judicial apparatus, to deal with you is not as pronounced. So what tends to happen is that physical harm happens to those considered enemies of the state governments. My activism did not start yesterday. The threats did not start yesterday. But this particular threat is coming as a function of my role in questioning the rationale behind the rush to reopen the toll gates. Not just reopen. I am diametrically opposed to the existence of that toll gate. I've always been from day one. But the events of 20th of October hardened my position, because I cannot understand how so many people might have been killed or died and nobody is interested in establishing, one, how many people died? Two, who is responsible? Three, how could this have happened in a democracy? These are the questions I have asked persistently since it happened. And what it has birthed is that persons who benefit from the status quo, who are unhappy with the fact that not all of us have kept quiet and bought into the illusion that nothing happened there, bring the dead body and all of that, we have suddenly become targets. But this one, it was a specific threat. It was very specific. I was blessed to have had someone warn me. I was already under surveillance. The shooter had been already identified and marked, and it was just a function of opportunity presenting itself. When I became privy to this, the first thing I did was to go on the ground, at least to an extent. But let's be clear, I have never, in all my years, ever stood up anywhere and claimed that I was being threatened. Not that I wasn't aware that what I do threaten other people who lives off the back of the Nigerian people, but this is the first time where the threat has been specific and names have been mentioned. And I could not, in spite of the fact that I'm not afraid of dying, it would be stupid to be afraid of dying. It would be completely stupid. If you go into my book, one of the first things you will realize is that I have already embraced the fact of my mortality. I know I will die someday.
Okay. From my end, sorry, I have no more questions. So I'm probably two in one, it's difficult. Mr. Ogunlana, too, for those of us, whether nose mask or not nose mask, we know his stand at the panel. And while you may not want to talk about the issue in the panel, can you also talk about whether there's a subtle threat over your life too, as one of the advocates for these NSAS protesters? That's one. Then secondly, sir, for you, I think you've said it indirectly, but I want to be clearer. Are we going to see Dele Farotimi go on the ground still, just to save his life, or we are still going to have you on many media?
I'll let Baba answer his question first, and then I'll answer it.
Well, thank you so much. You said it all. In Nigeria, democracy is more or less an illusion. Borrowed robes. If it is not too short at the ankle, it will be too tight at the neck. We are yet to accept the philosophy behind democracy. Democracy is just about liberty. There is still oppression in democracy, but it's the oppression of the majority. But that oppression allows for freedom of expression of the minority. They will have their say, and then the majority will have their way. But in Nigeria and all other backward countries, they don't want the minority to have anything, including to have their say. And when you challenge that, when you sort of okay, which you have been espousing, when you challenge, when you just sit down look, when you behave like Olusegun Inka, the man dies in him, who keeps quiet in the face of oppression. In the face of tyranny, the Nigerian authority, the Nigerian elite, it doesn't like that. They want to gag you. You ask me specifically whether there has been a threat to my life. I'm used to that. Yes, there is. In fact, they are trying to make light of it at the NSAS panel at the very early stage, when we were even there as mere protesters, not even as council. We were there the day we went to do the Lekki Toll Gate inspection. After about 90 or 95% of people had departed, and we were just at the last something, a policeman was seen. Not that they told me. I took a picture of him. He was taking a picture of my vehicle. When I reported that I wrote a petition to the panel, it was made light of. Mr. Ogunlana, you know what to do. You swear to an affidavit, this and that. Something was just like that. And the other time too, when one of our witnesses, Dabira, was just about about 3 weeks ago. We made our report to that panel too. Again, it was watered down and everything. I see one were an alarmist and all that. It's real. But we, I used to tell people this story. It's a nice sub story. It said there is some bulls. They came to the pond and the place was quiet. But the frog, a little frog, everybody now said, can't you know that just keep quiet? And the frog said, but God made us to croak.
It's in our nature.
It's our nature
to croak.
To croak. The quality of life is what matters, not the quantity of life. Methuselah lived 969 years according to the Bible, and they say he died. 969 years, and they say he died. Your Jesus the Christ lived 33 years. Of the 33 years, 3 years was just for the ministry. We still even talk today. We will talk. We must talk. And when you see people of our age range supporting Sorosoke generation, it's because aside any other thing, you have a responsibility to pass on the baton. Will I be expecting Wale Soyinka at 86 to be on the street? Gani is dead. Ishobu is dead. Beko is dead. This other Mala Akabashonu is dead. If Hassan Sumani is alive, must be very, very old. It's the responsibility of any era to discover his mission. And either you fail, you betray, you compromise, or you fulfill it. We are fulfilling ours. The gentleman is not lying at all. Specific plan. Remember, it's in it. And I've said when I was even campaigning for the NBA presidency, if necessary, like Mandela said famously, we are ready to lay down our life for this country. Because you can't keep us shut. You say it is not safe. It can't be safe. It can't ever be safe. All these other countries that people run to, Canada, Australia, wherever, America, some people are risked their lives to make it better. And that's all the challenge. So you have not come here to do a pity party. You just are letting the public.